everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I am Meg, and today I am showing you a dresser that I got from a farm. It was in a barn and it was in really good structure, really good condition, except the drawers were not going in properly. So I fixed that. My issue this week was that I did share in my community tab this past week that I lost 2,000 videos and photos from my gallery on my phone, and I had 4 videos all ready for YouTube and it's all gone. So it's okay, I've moved on, and I just want to let you know that this video I have put together with what I ended up finishing on this piece. I think it turned out really well, and so some of the process has disappeared, but I will try to explain as much as I can of what I did in the beginning. So without further ado, let's get started on this piece and let's start watching and see what we think. So let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. So here it is. It's a 3-drawer dresser that was in a barn, as you can see, and it needed some work. The 2 top drawers just would not go in no matter how much I sanded the bottoms of them. And I also noticed that the bottom of the drawers were warped and they wouldn't slide in properly. So we had an idea. Let's make it into a shelf unit, but keep the bottom drawer. Now the bottom drawer did need replacing on the bottom. It was warped as well, so we replaced that with some thick MDF board. And then I also filled in with wood filler on the grooves, as you can see here, and I sanded the top to raw wood. Now I also sanded the bottom drawer on the surface to raw wood as well. I used the support piece, as you can see here, there's one here that held the middle drawer, and then there was another one on top that I took off. It's actually right there on the floor. I used that to glue and nail at the back to support the new shelf that is right here. I also used this board as well, and I did caulking all the way around the edges, and we had a nice little piece of trim that went at the front. It worked out really well. I did scuff sand the entire piece. I cleaned it with crud cutter inside and out, and then I also vacuumed any cobwebs and made sure the piece was completely clean. I primed 3 coats of Kiltz Restoration primer because there were bleed through, as this piece was old. I also then hand painted with my brush a very light blue, as you can see here on the surface at the top. I wanted to do a bit of blending, so I mixed a brighter blue with a little bit of black paint in a little container, and then just brushed that on the bottom legs, and then brushed some off-white called Crinoline in the middle, just so that I can blend some colors. Now the main color was a light bluish gray called Belle of the Ball, and that's what I'm brushing here into the white and the blue. You can also take a dry brush and just go over it in different directions so that you can get the look that you want. And as you keep blending and going over it, you can also spray a little bit of water like I am here. And that just makes the paint just move a little bit better. And it's starting to blend right here. I have about 3 brushes on hand for blending, and the 3 colors. And as you can see here, it's starting to blend, and I do go in all different directions. I add a little bit of paint here and there, and then I go over it with the dry brush. Just keep doing this method until you start to see a blended look that you like. You can always add paint, and you can always rebrush it. Here's a closer look of me just going over it with the drier brush. This does have a bit of the lighter blue on it, and so I'm just mixing that in here. It does start to blend after a while of keep doing this method. Some paints are easier to blend than others. I found this one much better. I used to blend quite a lot actually on my pieces of furniture, and I use Country Chic paint for the blending. So I added a little bit of darker paint here on the bottom as I wanted it to be a little bit darker on the legs. And then just started blending again with the white and the lighter blue. While that was drying, I did the inside. I wanted the inside to have a little bit more depth, and so I did a little bit more shading inside on the edges only, and then the corners. Same method, going over it with your brush until you get the look you want. I wanted tissue paper on the sides and in the middle, and this one is called Damask Flourish tissue paper by Redesign With Prima. This is a steamer. It's a handheld steamer, and it is amazing to use for tissue paper to get all of the wrinkles out that were folded in the package. You don't have to place it on anything. I just hold it up and hang it, and it just works that way. It's really good. So once all the blending was done and I used the steamer to get the wrinkles out, it was time to put the tissue paper in the inside. So I brushed on a clear coat top coat, which I find the best for the tissue paper. It's very durable. And I brushed that onto the surface first. And I'm using an angle brush to do this. I like these brushes to add the top coat on for tissue paper. When putting tissue paper on, make sure that you have a really good amount on all corners and everywhere that you're putting the tissue paper on that surface. And then I had already measured out and cut my tissue paper and placed it on like that. Once that was on, and by the way, I had put it on the wrong way and realized, so afterwards I took it off, which was quite easy while it was drying, took it off and turned it around. So to seal the tissue paper while it is still wet on the bottom, you brush more top coat onto the top. Make sure again that you have a really good amount on the top and get all of the edges and corners, because the tissue paper soaks up the top coat. So you want to make sure that you've gotten every area. I also added tissue paper on the sides. There were 2 panels on each side. Make sure that you have a really good X-Acto knife. This is my utility knife from Zorcorp. Make sure it is sharp enough to cut the tissue paper, or you're going to end up with frays all the way along the edges and it won't cut properly. If you need help at the end of the piece of tissue paper like that, I just use scissors to cut it. Then place the tissue paper on the surface and again brush the clear coat over the top. I was actually trying to figure out which way the pattern goes because I'd already done it wrong the first time, so here is where I'm trying to figure out which way it goes, but I did end up getting it right. There, I finally got it on. And then brush the clear coat on the top. So that was the one side, and then I did the other side. It does get a bit tricky with the tissue paper and holding it in place, so you can use a bit of green tape to hold it in place, which is what I probably should have done. But it worked out okay, and I got it cut and measured. I'm sure there's much easier ways, but this is the way I do it. So once I had it all measured out, the process again is just to brush that clear coat on, place the tissue paper, and then you're going to brush the clear coat onto the tissue on top. And it will dry over time and get quite hard. It should take 24 hours, not even that, to dry. Make sure you don't have any bubbles. While that was drying, I took off the plastic on the top. I had plastic on there because I had sanded the top raw wood and I didn't want any paint on it. I actually thought I was going to spray paint this piece, but I didn't. I ended up hand brushing it with my brushes. And here's what it's looking like so far. Now the drawer I had already stenciled, but I'm going to show you here what I did. After I sanded it to raw wood, I did a paint wash over the top, brushed the stencil on with the roller, and peeled it off. These are peel and stick stencils by Redesign With Prima as well, and they are so great for just sticking on, and then you can brush your paint on. Now for this stencil on the side, I was using a chalk paste, which is also by Redesign With Prima, and just brushing it on this way in like a sort of dabbing motion. I wanted it to be very subtle on the sides and fade up to the next panel. So when I keep a piece or top or drawers raw wood, I don't want the orange undertone to come out when I seal it. So I do a beige paint wash. This is Soiree by Country Chic Paint, and it's a very light beige color. And so I use a lint-free cloth to dab into the paint, wipe it on, but I'm also spraying water at the same time. So I spray the water first, wipe on the paint, and then wipe it off. I also did this for the drawer before I put the stencil on. And it just keeps that natural wood look that I wanted. I wanted to keep the original, it's called an escutcheon, I think I'm saying it right. It's the little tag that goes on, the keyhole tag that goes on to the drawer. This is a really old tag, and so I wanted to keep that on there. Then it was time to top coat. Once I have done all of this work on this piece, I wanted to make sure it's durable and it's all sealed. The top coat is the same top coat that I used for the tissue paper. I find it the best and just really durable. It's Country Chic Paint's clear coat. I'll put that in the description. You can also spray this top coat on the raw wood, which I'm doing right here on the top. As you can see, it doesn't change much color, which I really am happy about. Then it was time to put the handles on. Now these handles I got from Lee Valley, and I was so happy. I was looking through my hardware bin and I found them there, and I completely forgot that I had bought them in the first place, but they matched this piece perfectly. Last thing to do is I just vacuumed out the bottom drawer. There was a bit of sand dust and chips of wood where I had drilled the hole. And I was just using my new vacuum that I got for Christmas, and it's a handheld vacuum, which is so great for this purpose. With this drawer, it had one original handle, and somebody had covered up or filled in the one hole, so I had drilled in the other hole to fit these handles. And here is what the piece finally looks like. I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I just love this piece. I love it. I love the tissue paper, the stenciling, and the blending and the blues. It just all worked out perfectly. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support and all your messages about my lost videos. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and engage on this video. I'll see you next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern with a new makeover.